Hi, it's David.Rosen. And on today's episode of If I Was the Mayor, I'm going to explain to you why we need to get rid of car horns and build a whole lot more car charging stations. You're a New Yorker. Have you ever heard a car horn? No, never, right? The worst is if you're driving or you're a passenger in the car and you're sitting at the red light and the light turns green, you want to turn and there's pedestrians walking and maybe they have a stroller or they're in a wheelchair and two cars behind you, someone can't see the pedestrian and they're just sitting on their horn. Beep, beep, beep. And if you're like me, of course you want to stop your car, get out and talk to the guy. Well, I don't do that, but we need to get rid of car horns, people. Once upon a time, you live in suburbia, you're driving down the street, a kitten runs into the road, little Bobby chases after the kitten, you stop and you hit the horn so Bobby doesn't get hit by the car and you save his life. But that's not happening anymore, people. All that's happening with these car horns is all day, every day, from truck drivers to taxi cabs to aggressive drivers are sitting on their darn horns. The light turns green, bam, immediately, beep, beep, beep. Let's get rid of car horns. We don't need car horns. This type of aggressive behavior doesn't live in a vacuum. I want to talk to you how the car horn, just removing car horns alone, and if you had a New York City inspection without which you couldn't park publicly unless you had this sticker, which meant you didn't have a car horn, is a profound psychological change in the mindset of the population here. And it should be the mindset of the population everywhere, as far as I'm concerned. I propose we do it here. By getting rid of horns, we are taking a step away from aggressive behavior. And aggressive behavior through horn honking or fast driving that we do in our fast cars is called coupling theory. Aggressive behavior leads to aggressive behavior everywhere, in all parts of our lives. Road rage leads to rage in our personal relationships. In fact, there was a study done in a book written by local thought leader and author Malcolm Gladwell in Talking to Strangers in San Francisco. They have the Golden Gate Bridge and they wanted to put a suicide prevention barrier up. Now, many city advocates for about a decade said that's a waste of money. It's very expensive. We don't want to do it. Those people would kill themselves anyway. Well, it turned out once they did build the suicide prevention barrier, suicides went down by a lot. When you remove the mechanisms that reinforce certain behaviors, people change. No question about it. Now let me just explain why we really need car charging stations. The reason why we have these aggressive drivers is because they can go super fast, and when they can't go super fast, they get mad, and what do they do when they're mad? They honk on their horns. They don't have a horn to honk on, and they could just take a breath for 2 seconds or 5 seconds and then go. They probably would be more relaxed. And if their car didn't go so fast, they wouldn't feel the need to go so fast. And if that car was an electric car and didn't pollute, which we absolutely have to deal with, we all know it, they would have a different approach to driving, and so would the cab drivers. And maybe truck drivers could keep their gas-guzzling cars, but maybe not their car horns. But we can't buy electric cars here in New York City because there's simply a shortage of places to charge them. There is something we can do. It's to build lots of car charging stations. And that will, like I've mentioned, reduce aggressive drivers. And that would really help all of the people who are wanting to get around, but now are really at the mercy of being, bullied by these aggressive drivers who are driving super fast, and the car horn is where it starts. Thank you. This has been another episode of If I Was the Mayor.